Thanks for joining me on a brief glance back to some of Goulburn's fascinating history. All information has been sourced from a self-guided heritage tour available at www.goulburnaustralia.com.au. Goulburn's current police station was originally built as a hospital for convicts before becoming a general hospital. In the 1970s, the police moved into this building from the Argyle Emporium. From the early 1830s, there were approximately 17 serving police positions in Goulburn. Many of their day-to-day duties included summons serving, loitering around hotels, impounding goats, and lagging drunkards to watch houses. Stop number 2 is R.J. Sidney Craig Undertakers, which was established in 1837 and is now Australia's longest continuously operating undertakers, and it is still run by the same family. The building they currently operate from was built in 1858 as the Rock of Cashel Hotel. Both its original cellar and attic still remain. St. Clair was built by James Sinclair, designer of many other buildings throughout Goulburn. His family lived here until 1852. The house has 18 rooms and 3 levels and has been home for many important Goulburn families, a doctor's surgery, an etiquette, music and drawing school, as well as home to Goulburn and District Historical Society and their historical records. Stop number 4 is the Exchange Hotel, which was opened by Duncan Campbell in 1882. The Campbells were a prominent Scottish family in Goulburn. Highlanders in kilts from all over the state would come to Goulburn for the annual Highland Gathering, and the Campbells Exchange Hotel would host these pipers and dancers. Grafton Street is named after the 3rd Duke of Grafton, Augustus Henry Fitzroy, who was the Prime Minister of England from 1767 to 1770. His grandson was the Governor of New South Wales when Grafton Street was established. Grafton Street is one of the oldest streets in Goulburn and was once the town's main street. The streets were designed wide to permit horses and carts to easily turn around. The land that houses 12 to 18 sit on was first owned by Thomas Bray in 1849. In 1878, the property was sold to Thomas Gale, who kept the houses until 1918 before selling to Arthur Moriarty. Moriarty was the last owner of all 4 houses before they were sold off individually. Stop number 7 is number 32 Grafton Street, which was originally owned by James Marsden, an early pound keeper who was also the treasurer of the inaugural committee of the Mechanics Institute and supported the manufacture of clothes in Goulburn. Stop number 8 is the elegant red bell type letterbox made of cast iron. It was one of 2 installed in Goulburn in 1859 and has been in continuous use ever since. Up close, you will notice that the mail slot is particularly high. It was designed this way to enable people to post their letters without dismounting their horse. Next door, at stop number 9, is house number 62, which has a plaque that details Mr. J. Greeley as the first landholder here and the Marwick family occupying the home. Behind the house was Brown's paddock where the circus would perform. Although this next home isn't on the Historics Home Tour, I just wanted to show it because it does actually have a plaque, and I just thought it'd be interesting. This is also the first of 2 houses that are on the tour that don't actually appear on the Historic Homes Tour. Stop number 10 is number 80 Grafton Street, and this is a set of 3 terrace houses that were once owned by James Downs, who was the keeper of the lockup in 1841. The next 4 terraces, from number 90 to 96, were owned by a man named Goodhue and had been here almost as long as Grafton Street has been established. Stop number 11 is number 104 and was once owned by Thomas Marsden, who also owned the Goulburn Evening Star newspaper. He was the director of the Goulburn Foundry and Engineering Company in 1885. Samuel Davis was the first owner of number 104A to 106. Samuel was a Jewish storekeeper of the Australian stores in 1837. In partnership with Isaac Levy of Sydney, Samuel was president of the Hebrew Association in 1854 and encouraged the development of gold prospecting in Goulburn. He also originally owned the shop on the corner of Cove Street, where you can still see the old Bush's advertisement on the side of the building. At this point, we're going to cross to the other side of the road and begin walking back up Grafton Street, heading towards Sloane Street. Lining Grafton Street's medium strip is the unique South American peppercorn tree. Often found planted around homesteads, dockyards and other settlements, it is frost, drought and wind resistant. These trees were chosen as a tribute to back in the day when bullock teams were the primary users of Grafton Street. Stop number 13 is number 99, and it was first owned by a solicitor, Edward B. Kitson, who attended the First Circuit Court on the 3rd of September 1847. Stop number 14 is number 83, and it was built in 1852 by E.H. Dunn, a fellmonger. In 1857, the building became the Crimean Inn. Its owner, John Bagwell, was a former sergeant of the police. The hotel's name was later changed to the Builder's Arms when Henry Smith took over. A gentleman named Mr. Beer ran a general store and tannery in the old stable at the rear of the inn. The strong odours of the tannery were a considerable annoyance to the neighbours. Stop number 15 is number 69, and it was first owned by Joseph Collins, an early Jewish merchant. He was a dealer of gold, wool, tallow, and sheepskins, a grocer, moneylender, and an alderman in 1868. Stop number 16 is number 51, and it was formerly known as Grafton House, and it was originally owned by Robert Evans. This two-story residence was turned into a saddler's shop and kept by a man named Lamb, who later got into trouble for embezzlement and ended up in jail. Around 1906, the building is also believed to have had a stint as an inn. Stop number 17 is number 25, and it is an 1840s Georgian-style building. The block it stands on was sold for £100 to Thomas Moran. From 1861, for more than 10 years, Moran was licensee of the Coach and Horses Inn on this site. This is the second home that has a plaque but doesn't appear on the Heritage Tour. that brings us to the end of the tour. Thanks for stopping by. There were just 2 stops I didn't point out, and they were 18 and 19, the last 2 stops of the trip. Stop number 18 is a traditional joinery circa 1840, and it was thought to have originally been an inn, and it was built on a random stone that has since been rendered. Stables could once be found to the rear of the building, but have since been removed. Stop number 19, which I think might be the last building at the end of this video on the corner, but I'm not too sure. It's the site of the Goulburn's old baths from 1892. Opening with a swimming and diving exhibition, the baths boasted modern luxuries, including the availability of year-round swimming, gas lighting, and a smoker's room, which was in the tower. That's probably that big tower we can see up the top there. In 1906, the building was sold and converted to become the Argyle Flour Mills and operated for over 60 years. A leisure centre with a skating rink and bowling alley, a furniture warehouse, and other businesses have occupied the premises since. However, the swimming baths still exist under the floorboards of the building, as they have never been filled in. I suspect highly that this is the building that I'm talking about, which is stop number 19.